Hello, my name is Ashley, and I'll be teaching you about the social penetration theory, which is a theory created by psychologists Irwin Altman and Thomas Taylor in 1973. So, the social penetration theory explains that relationships within humans are developed from communication from superficial to deeply personal topics. And the definition of that theory from the book says that it's the process of developing deeper intimacy with another person through mutual self-disclosure and other forms of vulnerability. The theory also gives a description of the different phases involved in relationships. And what's important to know about this theory is it believes that relationships begin and deepen through self-disclosure, which in the textbook can be described as a multi-layered onion. So Taylor and Altman described people being like onions, like peeling off the outer skin of the onion and you'll find another beneath it. And if you remove that layer, then you'll find another one under it. And to explain this example more, we can understand that the outside layer of an onion can be described as how humans look on the outside, like your facial features and facial expressions, how tall you are, or generally just how you look to the people on the outside. But as you continue to peel the onion, you'll begin to see and learn about the feelings and semi-private attitudes that person is hiding and showing only to some people they're close to. Another way to explain this example is kind of like how you wouldn't judge a book by its cover until you open it and read the story it's telling you on the inside. And similar to an onion, if the onion is bruised on the outside, you wouldn't discard it immediately, but you can peel off the layers. And if you do, you can see that it's a lot more beautiful on the inside. Taylor and Altman also talked about the closeness through self-disclosure, which means to voluntarily share your personal information like your likes and dislikes, your personal history, your secrets, and more with another person. By using the onion peeling as an example again, you can see that as you get closer and closer to the onion, it's starting to get tougher to peel. And it's said that the outside layer is easier to peel because, in the form of communication, it's basically talking to another person about something that is emotionally deep, like talking about your taste in food, what you're studying for in college, or just like the general things you would open up to about first to a stranger. And as you get closer to the person, you are beginning to talk more about deep personal things, which are harder to talk about, which then can be compared to how it's harder to peel the onion as it gets closer to the center. To go more in self-disclosure, Taylor and Altman talked about the depth of penetration, which means the degree of disclosure in a specific area of an individual's life. There were four observations as to how this would work out. One being peripheral items are exchanged sooner and more frequently than private information, which basically means that when you first meet someone, you talk to them more about things that aren't as personal to you. And second observation was self-disclosure is reciprocal, especially in the early stages of relationship development, which in this theory means that two people who have just gotten to know each other would open up to each other at the same level, which brings out the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is a paced and orderly process where openness in one person often leads to the openness of another person. And the third was penetration is rapid at the start but slows down quickly as the tightly wrapped around inner layers are reached. So Taylor and Altman explained that instant intimacy is a myth, and not only is it just internally hard to open up to someone you just met, there are societal norms to opening too much too fast. They also said that most relationships stall around before reaching the comfortable and intimate level, and because of this issue, most relationships don't stick around, whether it be a friendship or a romantic relationship. But once you pass that level, the relationships become more comfortable and both sides are at an equal level where they can reciprocate the more personal aspects of their personal lives to one another. So Altman and Taylor also outlined the various stages of intimacy in 5 stages. So the first stage is the Oriental stage, also known as the small talk or the first impression stage. The second stage is exploratory affective stage, which is when communicators begin to reveal more about themselves, such as their opinions concerning politics or their interests in music, but not at the point where they would talk about their deep personal information. In this stage, casual friendships developed, but most relationships stay at this level. The third stage is the affective stage, where communicators begin to disclose personal and private matters, where they begin to feel comfortable enough to argue or criticize each other. The fourth stage is the stable stage, where communicators share a relationship in which disclosure is open and comfortable. They can predict how the other person would react to certain types of information. And the last stage is the deep penetration stage, which happens when one or both communicators perceive that the cost of self-disclosure outweighs its benefits. So communicators would withdraw from this self-disclosure and then ending the relationship. And the social penetration theory, the reward cost assessment depends upon the extent to which a person chooses to self-disclose. And to explain this more, usually communicators would weigh in the risk of self-disclosure against possible rewards. For example, if you share personal information with someone, you can strengthen the relationship with them and even increasing the physical and emotional intimacy. But the outcome can also come off badly. If the other person were to react to this personal information badly, it could potentially lead to a broken relationship, and betrayal or mistrust can happen. And when deciding whether to disclose personal information, all communicators consider factors such as trust, loss of privacy, how long the relationship would last, and previous reactions from former relationships in similar situations. As long as the rewards outweighs the cost, personal information will be shared. So to conclude about this theory, I do believe that it's true you wouldn't open up as much as you would to someone you're really close to because like Taylor Elman said, there are societal norms to opening too much too fast. And the social penetration theory is definitely an important theory that is used in our everyday lives in the means of communications with others.